One of the coolest things about being the youth pastor here at Hope is that a big part of my week is just getting paid to pray for you at home. That is, unless you're not part of the youth group at Hope, in which case, why are you watching these videos? But I want you to know I'm thinking of you loads. I hope you're doing really well, and I hope this video encourages you too.
Hands up who likes 17th century French philosopher Blaise Pascal. I thought so. Blaise is dead now, but when he was alive, he said some very interesting things, including this. All men's miseries derive from not being able to sit in a quiet room alone. Yeah, it's pretty deep. I think a lot of people associate silence with being lonely or bored. But in this video, I want to explain why I think it is absolutely golden for someone who wants to get to know God better.
For probably the last 4 years or so, I've been working with teenagers who've had issues with their mental health. So that might be anxiety, or it might be low mood and depression, or it might be issues with drugs and alcohol. And one of the things that I often do is to ask them to take me through their day from start to finish. So I'll ask them things like, what time do you get up? When you wake up, what do you do first? Do you have breakfast? How do you get to school? What's the first thing you do when you get home? And what time do you go to bed? Once I've got like a nice timeline of their day, I then begin to ask them what they're doing at the same time as that they're doing all those things. While you're brushing your hair in the morning, are you watching YouTube on your phone? On the bus, are you doing homework, or are you just sitting there? Basically what I find is that a lot of people are just experiencing a huge amount of stimulus. Now, stimulus is basically stuff that makes your brain active. So it could be something you're looking at, something you're listening to, it could be an engaging conversation, it could be a piece of homework. And one of the things that modern technology, and especially the smartphone, has done is it has increased the amount of stimulus in our brains throughout the day. For me personally, I am using technology almost from that first hour of waking up till the final hour of my day when I go to bed. I'm talking music coming through headphones, podcasts, going on social media, reading the news on your phone, even conversations with people. It's all just relentless stimulus. Now, I'm not just bagging the smartphone or social media and saying that you shouldn't do it so much. What I am saying is, why are our lives so noisy with all sorts of different things? It's not normal. I know that for me, one of the reasons that I listen to things like audiobooks and music and podcasts, especially when I wake up in the morning, is because I don't like the thoughts that come into my mind. And so to have someone else's thoughts or words or some music playing through my mind instead sort of pacifies or numbs the thoughts that I am having.
But this is not just a modern problem for people with smartphones and a Netflix account. Even Jesus, the Son of God himself, has to remove himself from distractions in order to connect with God in prayer. And yes, that does mean it's Bible time. Just as Jesus is starting to get really famous and people are starting to think that he could be someone pretty special, there's this little verse in Mark chapter 1, verse 35, that just gives us a clue about what his real priorities are. It says, very early in the morning, while it was still dark, Jesus got up, left the house, and went off to a lonely place where he prayed.
The simple fact is that we cannot get to know God if we're constantly distracted all the time. At some point, we have to push pause on all the stimulus that's really hard to say. Blah. We have to push pause on all the stimulus that we surround ourselves with and pump into our brains. And we have to just decompress and be still.
So here's a challenge for you. Pause the video here and set a timer for 10 minutes. I want you to sit somewhere quiet and comfy and just sit in silence. Don't worry about the distractions around you, and don't try and experience anything or do anything. Just try it.
I don't know how you found it. I've just done it too. And I find it quite hard. I constantly want to check the timer to see how many minutes have passed, and my mind is just busy with things that I want to be doing. I really want to be reaching for my phone, or I start thinking of things that I should be doing, things that I need to get on with. Back in that very first video that I did during this lockdown, we talked about how humans have been separated from God. And that restlessness that we feel sometimes when we're not busy is the sort of the fallout from that separation. We kind of feel like there's this hole that needs to be filled all the time. And we feel like, hey, maybe I'm not enough as I am. Maybe I need other stuff to make me feel good. For me, one of the very best ways that I can start my day, before I pray, before I read my Bible, before I do any of those really holy things, is just to come in here, and I'll show you my view. Hold on. I'll take 10 minutes quite often, just sitting here with a cup of coffee, looking out at that. And all I will say to God is, hello, and I love you. And then I won't say anything else. I'll just look out at that view. And what I often find is that the stuff that I'm really feeling deep down, that I didn't even really know that I was stressed about or anxious about, it will start to come up to the surface. And that is such a great springboard then to prayer and to living life with God. Silence is golden because it strips away all of the stuff that we distract ourselves with that stops us from getting to the real issue, to the real nitty-gritty stuff of my heart. And God absolutely loves the nitty-gritty stuff of your life. He doesn't want you just to fake it the whole time, to raise your hands and wave at the ceiling, waiting for a spiritual feeling. That's not what prayer is, and it's not what worship is. God wants to meet us where we really are. But first, we have to strip back some of this stimulus, some of this stuff that frankly just distracts us from him. And once we do that, that is where the real adventure begins. And that is why silence is golden. Okay, I want you to try that more at home. Set that alarm for 10 minutes. See if you can get it up to 20. See if you can get it up for an hour. See how long you can go. For some of you, it might be really easy. For me, it's hard. And I think that everyone just has to start somewhere. Otherwise, I hope you have a great week, and I'll speak to you soon.